Hi, I'm Alchemist2, and I'm back again with another movie review. I just watched probably the most depressing film ever made, and that particular film was a documentary by Michael Moore called Fahrenheit 9/11. And of course, there are some very skewed viewpoints from Mr. Moore himself. Now, I'm not saying that everything that he says isn't true, but most of the things that he does say are biased, and of course, as you well know, the media itself is very biased, but uh, there were a lot of things that made me very angry considering 9/11, but I really don't think that all of it was George Bush's fault. I think that a lot of the people that were in charge were at fault as well, and it was just almost equivalent to Pearl Harbor, because there were warnings. I mean, there was an addendum, a memo, or a report saying that Osama bin Laden was planning on hijacking some planes and kamikazing them against the World Trade Center. Is kamikazing a word? I don't know. But anyway, it just seemed to be that could have been paid attention to, but we just waved it off, thinking, we don't have to worry about it. But it came back to bite us in the butt. And I thought the movie was very interesting as well, because it offered a perspective of parents who have lost their children due to Iraq. And I personally think that a lot of Congress people and anybody that is ever going to involve themselves in politics would watch the film Charlie Wilson's War, because I feel that Mr. Wilson was correct in saying we should have gotten out while we had the chance. We never should have gotten involved. We were going into a situation where we had absolutely no idea what we were getting into, just like Vietnam. And it's not to say that I'm against the whole idea of Vietnam itself. I mean, wars are stupid anyway. Wars are not good for the economy. Wars are just ridiculous. They cost human lives. A lot of innocent people get killed, good and bad, on both sides, and both sides suffer, and oftentimes it causes more of a depression than you normally have. Well, World War II was a exception to that rule. That was one where our economy was actually given a boon and a boost due to our manufacturing of steel and different elements for war itself, and business was good. But in the war on terror, what is that? I mean, how how oxymoronic can you get? You can't fight something that is already horrible. It's just, there is no logic to this. There's absolutely no rationale. And the whole phrase "war on terror" just irritates me to no end. But I'm divided. I do like Michael Moore, but in this instance, I have to say that he's very skewed in his ideas, and it's just one side of the whole 9/11 scenario. And yes, it was terrible, and yes, it shouldn't have happened, and yes, they should have paid attention to the foretelling of doom. That particular note, had I been president, I would have said somebody needs to pay attention to this, and we need to have something done ASAP. But with our government, and no offense to our government or our system, I'm American, I know it. I'm proud to be an American, but there's certain things about this government system that really miff me, and it's not working. It's sad that you're throwing people into a situation that they know nothing about. And it just really sucks, I think. And all these innocent people on both sides, they're being killed. And then you have people that they don't like us because we're coming into their land and occupying them. And it's just a mess. And I'm hoping that this nightmare comes to an end as soon as we have an election coming up. They're supposed to be coming out of Afghanistan. God, help us. Please let them come out, because it's about time that this came to an end. I don't have anything against the Afghani people, honestly. Of Iraq, Iran, no, I don't have anything against them. It's just fundamentalists. I shouldn't say it that way. The fundamentalists are closed-minded, and they hate anything that they don't understand, and this is not the way to think in this 21st century. I mean, what, are you still living in a cave? It's just, I tolerate these people, and I know that hatred will only breed more hatred, and what we need to do is pray for these people. I know that sounds like a really hard thing to do, especially for somebody who would try to kill you, but we really need to pray for these people. And what we're doing now, we're doing the best with what we have, with the finest of our troops, and to the utmost of our ability. And he says this, and one thing that I didn't like about this is Flint, Michigan. If you've ever been there, and I haven't been through it, but I've heard that it's from what I've seen the pictures, they're just abysmal. But it was like that even before W took office. So what Moore said, it was completely incongruous with that fact. Just thought I would mention that. But beyond that, he does make some excellent points, and I'm just hopeful that in this next campaign year, which I will be watching with bated breath, and hoping that we get somebody in the office who can make a difference. And I don't know, it's really difficult, because it's just something that it's really nobody's fault, but we should have some good economists in our government, because we really need to get ourselves back on track. We could take a lesson from the Europeans. And people often get socialist and communist mixed up, and socialism really isn't a bad thing. I know you're gonna think, oh, you're terrible, anti-patriot. Why are you saying this? Because I read, and because I know, and I've studied this. And socialism really isn't a bad thing. It's the good of all. It's a utilitarian thing. The only bad thing about utilitarianism is a lot of people that you think deserve the best for the most good get left out. And that's probably the only drawback of a system like that. But the true socialism is like that. Communism is not. Communism is entirely different. Nobody gets to do anything. You have to listen to a dictator. Dictator tells you what to do. You have no freedom. You can't own guns. It's horrible. It's just a terrible thing. If you want to see what true communism is, go to China. God forbid me. But, you know, I like the Chinese. I love them. But anyway, I don't like their communist system. Anywho, I've just made myself a ton of enemies just by saying that. But I just had to say it for what it was. And as far as where our system is now, I really don't know what to call our system. Just broken. That's all I can say. But there are a lot of commercials saying that we've been beaten pretty hard, but we're the American people, and we can get up and fight. And yes, we can. Of course we can. This is all possible. It's just that yeah, it just seems that we are having a lot of difficulties getting really pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps, as to say. But we will, and we just have to to be diligent and vigilant and watch out for other people that might want to take advantage of us in this time. And we always have to be careful. We can't be we can't be under the aegis of, well, someone's out to get us all the time. That's just, that doesn't solve anything. First of all, fear solves nothing. Anger solves nothing. War certainly doesn't solve anything. And money thrown at the problem absolutely, positively solves nada. But beyond that, I really think that is about all I can take away from the film itself. And it's a good movie. It's a good perspective to look at, but it's very skewed and it's rather biased. And I learned a lot from it, and it still kind of makes me angry. But beyond that, I'm happy to be American, and I'm glad I can complain about a lot of things that are wrong. And oh, my forefathers, they would be disgusted at the America that they would see today. But hopefully we can get it back to where it was and what I remember growing up and how I felt. I mean, I was a blind patriot. I just was waving my flag all the time thinking, oh, I love America. And not so much now. I'm kind of cynical, but I still love my country. Don't get me wrong. I do. I really, really do. It's just that we need to fix our problems. We need to focus on ourselves. Maybe that's a little bit selfish, but we just need to band together, fix what's wrong, and then get our jobs back into our country, because this is the most important thing, is jobs. Jobs, and then education. And our environment, we can do drilling over here. Oh, God forbid. PETA's going to have a fit. The environmentalists are going to have... I'm an environmentalist, but I wouldn't go so far to say, oh, drilling on our own shores is going to destroy a lot of different things. But no, we're going to have clean coal, so that's going to take care of the oil problem, and it releases us of our addiction to oil. And oil is the government. Remember that. It's not a good thing, but I'll get into that later. I'm sorry I got off into too many tangents, but that's what Michael Moore does to me. That's all I have to say for now. So if you want to see the movie, it's good. I would give it 3 stars and 1 thumb up. Pretty good. Check it out.